Hello everyone, this is Rahul, and in today's video we're going to talk about how not to burn your profits in a subscription business because it's a permanent damage. So let's get started with understanding few things in a subscription business. That's the first thing you want to understand, how subscription business model is different than a traditional model, which is a one-time business transaction with your customers. So before you understand the subscription business, in a typical traditional model where you find a prospect, you go and pitch a solution, you put a proposal, there's a margin which you know as a salesperson, which you typically calculate before you put the proposal, and you know how much to negotiate before you close the deal. That is all good because that works fine for all one-time deals, because all the time the salesperson can make a call at that point in time before at the closure, at the negotiation of the deal, because based on the size of the deal, based on the prestigious logo which you're going to acquire for your business, and few more factors, right? How strategic is this deal from a solution, from a use case or a case study point of view, and as well as margin based on the dollar value instead of percentage alone. And these are good because typically we look for a good dollar value when we are looking at a one-time transaction deal. Now, how is this different in subscription business? The first thing you want to understand is subscription business is typically a smaller dollar value subscriptions which is running either monthly or annually or multi-year, right? Which is generally going to be much lower in the total one-time deal size typically, right? Like for example, if someone used to buy an IT solution which was on-premise for let's say $100,000, its equivalent subscription model will be like $15,000 or about $20,000 a year, which is, even if it is for 3 years, it will turn out to be like a $60,000. It will be cheaper. So the first impact on that is the dollar value in a subscription model is smaller. Because the dollar value is smaller, the associated margin percentage might be still similar to a one-time deal, but the absolute dollar of that margin becomes really small, which generally in today's competitive world, less than 10% is what people look for from a product subscription point of view, right? But how do you maintain a healthy profitability is what we're going to look at later in this video. But that's the first thing you want to know. Margins are smaller, right? That's the first thing. Second is, keep in mind, you give a discount to the customer today. This customer subscription stays for at least 3 years. Typically, the lifetime value, this LTV as a calculation, is generally for 3 years. Like in a good, decent technology product, they calculate it at 3 years. Sometimes it's 1 year, but it's a good range. If you are talking about a mainstream SaaS solution or a cloud solution, it's going to be a 3 years LTV. Now, lifetime value is always calculated over 3 years. What it means is for you is you close this business today, the customer is stuck with you for 3 years, or you are stuck with this customer for 3 years, right? Now, the other pieces which you want to know is with subscription, customer is always engaged with you. The customer expects. I'll give you a simple analogy. When you buy something, even if you buy, let's say, a branded product from any store, when it goes wrong, what is the first thing we do? We think about that store, not the manufacturer, right? Which means if a customer has bought some subscription from you, they are going to pick up the phone and call you if something goes wrong, which means keep in mind, it is not just that you have to honor the price for the next 3 years. You also have to understand and be aware that the customer is also going to seek support and services from you, which means they're not going to just leave you. You cannot just say, hey, I no longer will support you because I gave you a heavy discount and I don't make any more money. You're obliged to be with the customer. Now, it depends on the support contract which you have signed, but still you gotta honor request from the customer, which means every time a customer calls, you are going to spend some time and an effort from one of your employees. So it is going to ongoing cost for you. So these are few things. Just to summarize, it's a long-term commitment. Customer stays with you forever. The cost is low, as well as you have to support this customer. So these are the key differences between selling a one-time deal versus selling a subscription model. Okay. Let's move to the next point. You got to be very careful before you agree on discounts and subscriptions. Why? Going back to our point, the subscription commitment is for a long term, which means if it is a monthly subscription, you got to bill the customer monthly. Every customer wants monthly or annual. The more invoices you generate, guess what? You generate more cycles to run the billing, more cycles to collect the payment also, which means every time you generate an invoice, it requires some effort, it burns some dollars to collect the money also. So by signing a deal, by giving a discount on a subscription margin, you're literally burning your long-term profits, right? The second aspect which I told is it's a long-term relationship, which means it is going to stay with you for a longer, and the margins are already small, right? Because the deal size on a subscription is smaller, which means you reduce your margin further for a long period. And the last piece is services. If you don't have any idea that how long this customer is going to stick with you and is actually going to become a painful customer, then you better be aware of that every time there is something goes wrong, and pray to God that nothing goes wrong big time, because you will really get sucked into that whole cycle, or the organization will go into a support cycle. So giving discounts, these are things which you want to be careful. It's a long-term low margin. You will have to factor in that you will support more support calls with these customers, and it is a small margin. You're literally talking about a small dollar value where every time you bill, collect, support, it takes out dollars from your operations expense. The next on this topic is the impact of low margin on a long-term basis, right? Now, what we are going to look at is understand the aspect of how long-term basis, if this practice comes in, how is it going to happen, or what is the effect on your business is going to happen. One-off deals, because you have a very strategic customer, you can give it, you can give a discount and close the deal because it's an important logo, it's strategic customer, and XYZ. But if this becomes your pattern to acquire customers, whatever is your margin pool today, it's going to reduce a little bit next year, and it's going to reduce further a little bit next year. Why? Human psychology. Customer expects a lower price year by year, a little bit, some discount based on the loyalty, which means you will tend to give small percentages away every year to keep the customer happy. Now, if you have one, and you will do it for 2 more, you'll do it for 10 more, and if this becomes your long-term strategy to acquire business, guess what? Your operating income will become so thin that one big customer goof up comes in, it will really destroy the business. So when you aggregate the low margin effect and the cost to support this customer, you will really find yourself into a very difficult situation if you have hundreds of such customers with low margin. So long-term basis, it is a very devastating effect on your business. Do not try to get into that low margin subscription deal. Especially, I've seen situations where to close the deal, people give out the full margins on that and just work on the services piece on one of these things, on one of deals, which is the services pieces of that. So that's a big no. Now, the last thing which I want to talk about is how do you protect these situations? How do you protect your margin? How do you take these margins, and what kind of tactics you can apply to protect yourself in a situation? So few tips, not a lot of them, but you can improve yourself over a period of time. One is if you cannot avoid a discount, and if the discount what the customer is asking comes out to be, let's say, on a $10,000 deal, the percentage discount which is the customer is asking on a subscription turns out to be a, let's say, $400 discount. Now what your customer is trying to do is to get this $400 discount every year. What you want to do is, it's okay to give $450 one-time discount, which means you maintain your recurring prices all the time, but you get the deal one-off so that at least you don't burn the money every year. Okay? The other tactic is keep the prices, offer something else. Right? This is one of the great ways to make the deal better for the customer. The goal is to make the customer feel that they are also winning something in the whole deal. My suggestions, which has worked for me in past in my business, was offer some kind of services. The best services are training, for example. It is a very fair assumption that customers think that, oh, it's a software, I don't need training. Guess what? They all need the training. And the way to pitch that is, training will make you get the most out of your dollars which you've invested in the subscription as a benefit. Which means if somebody is investing $100 per user per month, if getting trained will give them full returns of investment. So training is a great way to position this. Offer the discount on the training because it's one-off, right? And do as much as training. So if the customer is convinced for 3, give 2 more. Total 5 sessions, and then 2 is for free, 3 they pay, or give a discount on the training itself. Run workshops. Workshop is a great way to charge at a premium, which means before you set a goal or a proposal, at time of closing, you want to throw in a workshop. Put that in the proposal for $1 value, and then keep that as a card to negotiate at the end. Why workshop? Workshops are great for goal setting, achieving some objectives, because every time you sell a solution, there is some goal behind it, right? And to orchestrate that, you can run a workshop. It's a 3-hour workshop with a bunch of people, key stakeholders in the customer side. Put someone into the workshop who is really vocal, who knows how to talk, who knows how to run a session. And there are many frameworks available to run workshops in general. And workshop is a great way to save a lot of money and offer value, and take the focus from offering discount to adding more value, right? You can run assessments, for example. You can say, I'm going to do the assessment today, how much you're burning, how much time it takes to do a solution, and after I implement everything, I'm going to run a session to prove you the ROI. Because someone who is making a decision is going to help that person to actually elevate the returns of investment proof to their management. So these are some of the tactics you could use which will help you actually protect your margin. In fact, it could raise your margin. You should never sell any of the services for free. Implementation services is an amazing way to make money. Migration services is an amazing way to make money. Doing some development and API on top of a cloud subscription is also a great way to money. But bottom line is, don't give out discounts on the core subscription. The moment you do that, you erode the margins forever. You will never be able to get a customer to pay more. It will always go down. Keep in mind, it is either stays flat or it goes down. So try to add more value. The more value you add, you better differentiate with the competition. Even if the competition offers it for free, 0 margins, they are going cost to cost, you have a lot of value to show. And it is okay to lose some deals. It is okay to get some bad customers to your competition. If you have already some customers who are really becoming a pain, actually let them go to the competition, because guess what? If you are not making money, they're gonna not make any other money to your competition also. So that's typically my suggestion on not to burn profits in your subscription business, because it's a permanent damage. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. This is Rahul Bhavsar. Thank you.